I want to talk about memberships today. Now, depending on what you do for work, you may be familiar with different types of memberships. I want to talk about three today that are important to me and things you should look for if you're getting a photographer. So, the first one I want to talk about is the Professional Photographers Association. Then we'll move on to the Boudoir Photographers Association. It's an international group. And I want to go finally to Droners IO. Now, why would memberships be important to you as a photography client? Let's start off with the PPA. The Professional Photographers Association gives me insurance. One thing you want to make sure that your photographer has, if they're going to be shooting, especially in your house or at your wedding, is are they insured? What happens if one of their stands falls over if they're using lights, or it digs into your floor if you're at your home? Are they covered? Are they covered if you don't like the photography that you got? And what is their policy when it comes to the satisfaction of their client? Now, I don't shoot weddings. I shoot some events, but the advantage of not shooting a wedding, and the events I shoot are a little bit different than doing weddings, is if there's a problem with the photos at a wedding, you can't shoot them again. The events that I shoot are recurring events, so if something goes wrong on one, I can pick it up on the next day or on the next time around. But when it comes to a wedding, you get one shot and one shot only. So what does your photographer have for coverage? In addition to that, being members or being a member of these organizations means that there's a place for you to look us up and see what others think of us, and to look at our profiles above and beyond what you can see from our websites. So that's the first one there. The PPA is a Professional Photographers Group. Now, the International Boudoir Photographer Association, if you're going to have boudoir photographs done, because it's such an intimate process, you really want to make sure that you know as much as you can about the photographer, including but not limited to meeting the photographer as well, to get a feel for them in person. But beyond that, are they members of associations that can give you some kind of feeling of confidence in their work and their professionalism, especially when it comes to things like boudoir photography, anything that's going to be intimate? How professional are they going to be? And being a member in good standing of these different groups can help you understand how professional they are and to get a feel for them as a professional. The third one I want to talk about isn't for portrait photography or necessarily for event photography. Droners IO gives a professional drone pilot approval symbol. In order to get that, they have to vet your license. Now, unlike other photography, in order to do commercial photography with a drone, you have to have a federal license to do that work. And having a federal license does not mean that you have insurance. So if you're going to have drone photography done, make sure that your photographer is insured, just in case something goes wrong. Drones can bump into things. Drones can fall out of the sky. You can't fly over people for that reason. But what happens if they're flying a drone around their house, around a property for you, around your house, and it cracks a window, for example? So you want to make sure that in addition to having certification and that they've got their license, that they also have insurance. Knowing that they're an approved member of something like a professional drone pilot from Droners IO will allow you that peace of mind that you know that they've had a license checked. They have a license when they got their badge, and that license was valid. Again, when it comes to insurance, though, that's something, don't feel uncomfortable asking a photographer about those types of things, especially if they're going to be shooting things in your house or even in your yard for that matter. What happens if something goes wrong and there's damage? How is that going to be addressed? How is that going to be taken care of? Because if you're setting up lights or backgrounds or any of those kinds of things, you've got stands sitting on your floor, you want to make sure that care is taken in the setup and the breakdown, obviously. But what happens if something goes wrong? Like you have a dog that comes running into the room and hits the light, and the light goes crashing into something. What's going to happen at that point? So those are things to take into consideration. But when you're just looking for a photographer, seeing those memberships and being able to go to those sites and look up to make sure that that membership is still valid gives you that little bit of peace of mind to know more about the person that you're dealing with. That's what I got for you this week, and I'll talk to you guys next time.